Hey, sweeties. It is that time of year again. It is time for a sweetness review for the year 5781. You would have to be pretty new around here um, to not know. I am a Jewish lady, so I live my life on two calendars. And yeah, it's just about the start of the new year, 5782. So yeah. In fact, they were recording this. The new year starts tonight. So, yeah. So there is a custom at the new year not to say Happy New Year as a greeting, but to say Lashana Tova or Lashana Tova Mutuka, which means to a good year or to a good and sweet year. So, in keeping with the theme of sweetness, I would like to do something that I started last year, which is to share a list of sweet things that have happened in the past year. And there's always sweet things. If you haven't caught my other video, by all means, go take a look at that. There's some nice stuff in there. I don't know how to put the little thingies up in the corner. Uh, I'm I am technologically challenged, but I'm learning. So, oh, something that didn't make it onto my list. This is a relatively new laptop. I got it a few months ago, so yay! That's a sweet thing, and it didn't even make my list. Also, before I officially start my list, I want to take a moment to acknowledge the people who have subscribed to this channel. There's not a whole lot. Um, Not only is it nice for my ego, but it makes me feel good that my positive messages are getting out there because that's what this is about. It's not about me. Yeah, so for those who have subscribed, thank you very much. And for those who might be considering it, I invite you to do so. Um, I mean, you can always unsubscribe later if you want. This way, you'll know if whenever there's a new video, you know, uploaded. Um, and in the words of Dr. Abraham Lowe, no decision is perfect or permanent. So there's that. Anyway, so now on to my official sweetness review for the year 5781, going into 5782. Um, so we live in California, myself and my youngest, who is still a teenager. And so the weather's nice here, and I'm really grateful for that. That could be its own thing, uh, but it's not, because the thing is that, with the exception of 5 nights this past spring, I have kept a roof over our heads. And yeah, so we live in a nice place where the weather's not bad. So even those 5 nights we were sleeping in the car, it really wasn't that bad, and we were in a safe place. So yeah, yeah. So I managed to keep a roof over our heads the whole year except for those few nights. Okay, so the next thing is this past year. If anyone's watching this and knows me personally, especially if you've known me for a long time, and if you miss my posts on Facebook, this might shock you. I got my first ever vaccination this past year, and that was less for myself and more out of a sense of communal responsibility. For myself, I had some concern that I might have a bad reaction to it. That's why it was my first vaccine ever. There's a family history of very bad reactions. Uh, I've actually I'd been thinking about that, the family history and how my body deals with pathogens and all that kind of fun stuff. I'd been giving that a lot of thought over the past few years anyway. Um, so I decided it was worth the risk, and it turned out fine. My shoulder was a little sore after the first one, and it was fine. So yeah, yeah, it was worth it. So yeah, so that in and of itself wasn't like, yay, what a wonderful thing, got poked with a needle, but the fact that it indicates personal growth and introspection, because that's something it's something we should all have going on an ongoing basis. Okay, so moving on. Um, so yeah, like I mentioned, my youngest lives with me, and so the next thing on my list is that I have observed at close range an increase in mature, responsible behavior, and yeah, in my youngest. So it makes me very very proud, and yeah, yeah, we have grown up conversations, and there's more more responsible behavior and more like grown up acknowledgement of things going on. So yeah, that's a good thing. That's a very sweet thing for a parental unit to experience. And so then the next thing might get me. There might be a little bit of negative backlash in my personal life, but this is not about me. Um, yeah, in my last video, I talked about you know sometimes having to put your foot down, set boundaries, and break ties with people, and and it doesn't have to be permanent. Just I don't recall if I made that clear. It doesn't have to be permanent. When people are willing to make amends for whatever it is, I'm a big believer in giving things another chance as long as people are willing to respect 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 boundaries, respect each other. Um, yeah, so one thing that I am proud of myself about, and that is a sweet thing, is that I am keeping my resolve to uphold the boundaries that I've set. Yeah, I'm not going to get specific at all because it's not about calling anyone out. Uh, yeah, there's a fine line. In case I haven't mentioned it before, there's sometimes a very fine line between sharing one's own personal experience and gossiping. And it's, the fact that I'm saying what happened, but I'm not calling out that person. If you don't know me personally and you don't already know who it is, you're not going to know who it is because it's not necessary to know who it is. It doesn't matter. And um, yeah, I'm just not going to. Anyway, but yeah, I'm holding firm and keeping my boundaries for my mental health and for the principle that was at the base of what the offense was. Anyway, so I'm proud of myself for not giving in because in the past I would have, and I would have felt terrible, and that wasn't healthy. So, yay, improvement in boundary, respect, and mental health and good stuffs. Okie dokie. So, um, yeah, this is the next one's interesting. I I wrote down here owning my spiritual inheritance from my mom. Um, my parents both passed years ago, before the pandemic. So, um, yeah, I always thought of myself as a daddy's girl. So I was definitely ready for any spiritual inheritance, to acknowledge that and take that on um, from my dad. Even though his passing was like 5 years more recent than my mom, I guess I just had some work to do in here and in here before I was able to just acknowledge. Just to be clear, my parents were good people. They were characters. Um, they were a little homophobic, not out of hate, just out of lack of understanding. And and it should be said that the the first time anyone in our immediate family came out as LGBT plus anything. Um, I didn't hear a negative word about it from them at all. No more little things they thought they were funny or okay to say on occasion previously. Never heard any of that again. Um, they were very accepting and respectful. So, yeah, it definitely was not hate based at all. I just didn't understand. But I guess once they had a front row seat and realized, okay, this is, this is family. But I digress. But yeah, accepting my the spiritual inheritance from my mom, and I don't have to get into weird, boring woo-woo detail. Just that, um, just that's definitely some personal growth, and I'm glad I glad I worked on that. Glad I came to some acceptance. That was pretty cool. Okay, so yeah, there's another thing that's a little mixture of, like within a not so great context, there was some good news, some sweetness. So my kid number two, who is living with his dad, and I and is still choosing to not have contact with me, and I still don't like it, but I still have to respect it. Um, yeah, I have heard that he's doing well, and I have heard that he's also increasing in maturity and, making responsible decisions. So that that's great. That's great. So yeah. And another thing, um, the last official thing on my list is um, realizing that I am, in fact, a member of the LGBT plus community. I am bisexual. Um, this is not my coming out on the internet. I've said it before. If you want to catch that video, that was entitled "My Epiphany." I think it was video number 8. Not sure, but yeah, um, that was pretty cool. I was actually watching a One Topic at a Time video, or I had watched that video, and he's such a cool guy. He's a wonderful ally. He's very sweet. And anyway, but the comment section over there is so loving and encouraging. And people were talking about, different ways to define their sexuality. And yeah, that's how I figured me out. It's like, oh yeah, okay, I'm bisexual. All right, that's a thing. Cool. Oh, and apparently September, when I'm recording this, is Bisexuality Awareness Month. I didn't know that before, but so be aware. Yes. Um, one thing also that I want to say regarding coming out, because if you who are watching this right now are a member of the LGBT plus community and you are not out, um, you know, don't feel bad about that. If it's, when the time is right, great. If the time is not yet right, if you don't feel like you'll be completely safe or you're not sure if you'll be completely safe, your safety is more important than anything else. Okay? Just so that's clear. All right. So, um, be safe with your personal details. Be safe with your hygiene out there. Wash your hands, wear a mask when you're around people. Please, I don't care if the rules where you live say you have to or don't have to. I still mask up in public all the time. And I just want to scream when I see other people unmasked. Anyway, yeah, okay. I'm not a germaphobe. Not really. Slight tendency, maybe. Okay, that is about it. That has been my sweetness review for the year 5781, going into 5782. So, um, yeah, whether you are personally someone who is, you know, part of this read this calendar for this part of the Jewish community and living with this calendar and ready to start a new year or not. Um, I still want to wish you Lashana Tova Matuka, a good and sweet new year. That is it for now. Bye.